Good afternoon, everyone. Great venue, and really excited to be at this event. And kudos and congratulations to Kevin and the broader CASA 23 team for this inaugural event and kicking this thing off in the industry. So before I get started, I'm going to, there's a small group of Radices. My colleagues here, I'd like to quickly identify them. Al Blasco, he's our Senior Vice President of Communications and Applications, based out of Boston. We have Ralph Page, who's our Sales Director located in London. We have SVP of the EMEA region, Anil Jangori, and also Ritvik from Amsterdam, both of them from Amsterdam, with us today. My name is Adnan Saleem. So I'm going to spend a few minutes talking about where we're at today and what are the challenges and where we as an industry need to go. So today we are at a crossroads of a digital communications revolution, which is changing and redefining the way we communicate and collaborate and interact with each other. Now, that digital communications revolution is being driven by some pretty significant industry forces, namely programmable networks, artificial intelligence and machine learning, and 5G public and private networks as they're getting deployed. Now, collectively, these forces are changing our world in ways that we hadn't imagined just a short few years ago. But I think with those forces also comes pretty significant opportunities for enterprises, operators, service providers, and systems integrators to go and create and deliver digital solutions and experiences that go far beyond what basic voice calling and video calling and text messaging has done traditionally. So we'll spend some time talking about that. And lastly, my name is, I think Kevin already introduced, I'm based out of Vancouver, Canada. So in the first little section, in the next 20 minutes, we'll kind of go over the current value chain for CPaaS providers and how to move up the value chain. I think that Ellen kind of alluded to that a little bit in the talk earlier. The evolution of CPaaS itself, I think a lot of people in the industry have coined it CPaaS 1.0, then CPaaS 2.0, CPaaS 3.0. We're going to kind of go and differentiate that and see where the differentiators are. Where has the industry gone from CPaaS 1.0 to CPaaS 3.0? And I'm going to maybe even propose what's beyond CPaaS 3.0, we'll call it CPaaS 4.0. And it's, I think, as a result of convergence of multiple technology areas, some of them I alluded to in terms of AI, ML, and 5G. They are maturing to the point that the convergence of those technologies is what is providing this new opportunity in this time frame. However, those things come with challenges as well. Those challenges are to do with competency and expertise in those technology areas, as well as the complexity of integration to come up with the end solution. Not enough to have an API, not enough to be just a data scientist. It's the convergence of those and the expertise and making it easy for the developers. In the end, that's what it is. Remove the barriers, make it easy for developers to create and launch applications. And then we'll talk some examples, real-world examples and use cases too, in terms of where these new possibilities are and what do they look like. So here was a kind of an interesting diagram from Gartner. And when you kind of first look at it from a technology head perspective, it looks like a stack, like a software stack or a protocol stack of sorts. But when you look at it a little more carefully from an opportunity and revenue chain perspective, it's really exemplifying what's at the bottom, which is really sort of the low margin, SIP trunks, connectivity, voice minutes, messaging, short codes, long codes, et cetera, network interconnects. That's sort of the CSP model traditionally, and not everybody's, of course, would put everybody in the same bucket, but largely in the global industry, that's where the things are at in terms of the low margin. Now, as you kind of move up the stack, if you may, that CPaaS provider, the traditional CPaaS providers above that are offering things what we normally call as modules or wrappers or bundled solutions. So it's not just connectivity, it's not just basic voice minutes, it's the solutions that are providing, that may be contact centers, that may be emergency services, or maybe basic IVR type of services. So those bundled services are gain higher margin because they're providing a larger, more complex piece of the solution. Then kind of one level even above that are sort of the ASPs and the systems integrators that are offering not just those individual components, but providing essentially a marketplace of solutions and a much larger solution integration that provides the even higher value than individual modules and components. So if we look at CPaaS 1.0, kind of very quickly run through that. I think we're all very familiar, I guess, with the history of CPaaS, but to kind of set the stage here, very telecom and developer-centric. We go to CPaaS 2.0, focus on enterprise enablement, package solutions, voice and messaging, kind of bundling of those solutions above and beyond sort of the basic telecom services. Kind of where we're at now with omni-channel digital engagements, video, chatbots, those type of new, relatively new technology areas where this omni-channel type of support and multimodal access of solutions is being provided and bundled, and we collectively sort of refer to that as CPaaS 3.0. So what we're going to talk a little bit more in this talk here is about what is more advanced from the key areas of maturity in the technology industry that is offering these new immersive applications and digital experiences that we can create above and beyond what we already have with CPaaS 3.0. So those are really things that are emerging out of AI-based engagements aligned with digital Industry 4.0 solutions. There's many, many different verticals in Industry 4.0, as we know, in terms of Industry 4.0 and automation, and how public and private 5G networks are evolving. So if you kind of look at this thing here, most of the providers are either between CPaaS 2.0 and CPaaS 3.0, but the differentiation will be in going up the value chain and leveraging the underlying technology as it's maturing. So here, we're talking about the maturing technologies. I think we all know where we come from on the left-hand side, programmable communications. That in itself, of course, is evolving, which is great. It will continue to evolve. But the new game-changer areas are really that are coming from programmable networks. Chimera, I think we touched on that a little bit. Conversational AI, as well as computer vision. So those are a lot of things that AI is being used in conversational speech, as well as a lot of stuff in the computer vision or machine vision video domain as well. Very relevant to some of these use cases that I'll give you maybe a couple examples of that. And also the third sort of significant leg there is the 5G public and private infrastructure. A lot of private 5G infrastructure being deployed for a lot of different industry verticals. For example, warehouse automation to healthcare to retail to security and surveillance, you name it. So I think it's the complexity of integration that sort of remains the barrier. That sure, all of these technology areas are maturing, and we can all start to envision what new scale or new class of applications can be created from collection of these things, but the complexity is a barrier that you don't find domain expertise all in one place. So let's talk a little bit about the challenges here, right? So in accelerating 4.0 innovation. So one of the things is that there's just disjoint technology. So you have expertise in lots of different areas, but they're really disjoint and requires a lot of integration and knowledge transfer and expertise to put an end-to-end solution together. Communication platforms are not quite optimized for 5G, and especially private 5G, as the network itself is evolving and more deployments in 5G are occurring. So deployment of communication systems, deployment of AI, ML-based technologies on top of 5G, and more importantly, distributed 5G networks remains a bit of a challenge. But nonetheless, I'm sure it will get solved pretty soon. So lack of skills in AI and ML, I think that's more general industry thing. Not everybody is a data scientist, me included. There are certainly lots of great data scientists that are experts in, but those are few. So we cannot have a few experts that become a barrier in creating these solutions. Also, the cost is prohibitive if most of this infrastructure is deployed in public cloud infrastructure. The cloud compute and network resources don't give the economics in terms of large-scale deployment. So there are some trade-offs in terms of private deployment versus cloud deployment, and maybe in some cases hybrid models. So slow innovation towards inflexible IMS networks, if I may point that out. IMS networks inherently, they were more or less purpose-built with a larger view. But try and change an IMS network to do immersive media communications, where every element of the IMS network will require some modifications to deploy a solution. That's a barrier in itself to deploy within the IMS network, because a lot of network functions have been in the in the IMS network that get touched, and that becomes a barrier in itself. And I think last and pretty importantly as well, that as this thing of privacy and security, as more of this media-related content and information gets distributed to create these immersive use cases, that opens up even more, especially around AI as well, security and privacy concerns. So collectively, these are all the at a high level, what we see as sort of the challenges or barriers to rapid innovation. But as these challenges get, and no doubt that they will, get addressed, I think the opportunity or the prize is also really big. So the challenges are there, but the prize is also quite large. And just to kind of look at a few examples of that for some market reports, just in the programmable communication space, there's pretty significant year-over-year growth. The second one down the list there, I think, alluded a lot to conversational AI. Conversational AI in a category in itself, as you can see, is a pretty significant opportunity that is not very widely deployed yet. And then going maybe one step further, or in addition to that, is video analytics, and I kind of alluded to that as well, that computer vision, machine vision, that technology is also mature to the point that it can be used, and is starting to be used now, in creating these immersive applications that kind of go beyond the basic calling and text messaging. So it has a broad market reach across many different industry verticals for enterprises, service providers, as well as systems integrators. So I wanted to actually also point out maybe few, not necessarily the representative examples, but so that we can wrap our head around, so when we talk about AI and ML and conversational, what does that really mean? What kind of applications can I really create? How difficult or complex is that application to create? So we have actually a number of demos, and if you please drop by at Radius or talk to any of our colleagues, we can actually give you live working demos of a number of these solutions and a few more. So this particular one is that we're all used to chatting. You know, the chatbot that shows up when you visit a website and then you go back and forth interacting with a chatbot. Not really all that great, at least not in my opinion. Not a lot of people use it because it's just not a convenient mechanism, and it never really actually gives you what you're really looking for, and you don't really have that natural interaction with the text back and forth. So now with advancements in conversational AI, speech recognition, and those technologies I was referring to earlier, and the ability to create these complex applications in a really quick and rapid manner, deploy them and launch them and test them out in the market. So this example is what we call immersive and memorable. So instead of having a text-based chatbot, you literally speak to the bot through any endpoint, WebRTC or PSTN or mobile, what have you. But the point is you have an actual virtual interaction with that virtual agent in your natural language, in the choice of your language. 100+ languages supported, and it's based on technology that will do intent mapping and will give you natural language-based responses back, and will also be able to take actions and events and do follow-up, or connect you to maybe a live agent. We say, hey, I need to actually talk to a live agent. Now, if I say that, immediately an outdial will occur, and a live agent will be now available for me to talk to instead of talking to the virtual assistant. So now imagine, instead of just texting a chatbot, you literally click a button or you call a number, and you're having a full natural language NLU-based conversation with that virtual assistant. So an example that's already built, and we can kind of demonstrate that. Kind of similar to that is generative AI. I mean, this has gained so much attention, I can imagine, for the last few months. Every time you turn anything on, you see something about ChatGPT. So it's great. I mean, this is a fundamental shift in the evolution of AI, and in this particular case, generative AI. So the use of generative AI along with CPaaS is the ability to be able to go and use in any communication forms what I'm calling here the back end, the generative AI part of it through OpenAI, and also is customizable in ways where you don't have to use the global large language model. You can say, well, for this enterprise or for this use case or for this business or for this educational institution, these are the set of documents or data set. And I'm just going to ingest that, but leverage the OpenAI technology and then be able to have a natural language conversation that is generative. that will actually generate the responses for you and does a really good job at it. So just as a quick demo, that number, by the way, we can demonstrate that live to you as well. If you call that, we built this application using our platform and tied ChatGPT on the back end to it. As you kind of see, you dial that number and you'll be able to speak to GPT, OpenAI GPT in real time. So I think that Kevin alluded to the demo that we had done. Another example of more real-time media processing use cases that are leveraging AI and machine learning technology. And in this case, it's a live language translation. So this is the ability for between any two parties calling in call party, regardless if they're calling from PSTN or from their mobile phone or from a website, click to call or not, WebRTC, regardless of the endpoint or the access network, the application solution is that in real time, it will convert my language, let's say I'm speaking English, and the other party may be speaking Mandarin, and we will have a live conversation between the two of us with a second or so delay, which we're trying to shave down even further. But it's a fairly good live language translation between any language to any language. We've got about 100+ languages available. So these are kind of examples, and only representative examples of things that can be created now that go beyond what we call going beyond the traditional calling and messaging, calling and text messaging, leveraging the underlying AI ML technology. So now switching over a little bit to the video domain, monetizing 5G beyond connectivity. So there's computer vision and machine vision. There's hundreds of models that are now pre-built, and they continue to be built, not just by us, but by us as well as the industry in general, which can quickly be leveraged. So literally, you can drag and drop, and do a design flow, and in that design flow, you can say, I'm interested in counting how many people are in this room right now, and immediately report that, and if the number is over a certain amount, then alert the facilities manager. Or in the bottom left example, I'll show you in a second here, it will say, I have multiple cameras at this outdoor pipeline facility. I'm interested in detecting a fire or smoke, or if there's people loitering around or animals jumping the fence. Now take these 20, 30, whatever number of cameras that are facilitated, the application, what it needs to do in simple 5 steps, create the application and deploy it. This was literally done in 2 days. So take the cameras, apply an inferencing engine. Inferencing engine just means in your computer vision or in your video stream, what object or scene are you detecting? So we say fire and smoke. And then once it's detected, what are the set of actions you want to take? Alert the fire department, make a recording of this event occurring, and send an SMS message. So very traditional CPaaS-like facilities from an eventing and alerting perspective. But the point is that it's collection of all these things designed really quickly and deployed really quickly and becomes monetizable immediately. So these are just examples. You can imagine the hundreds of models that are available that computer vision and machine vision can be applied to, along with traditional CPaaS, to create these new sort of the next generation sort of immersive digital solutions. So I want to touch more on that. I think this is, we are also have recently been participating in Chimera. In fact, in the technical steering committee of Chimera now, and also the end user use case working group. So very much interested in contributing and working with the Chimera community as a whole, with the operators and vendors. But I think what the point of view that we're coming from, that there's of course, the set of access network and device management set of APIs the Chimera is focused on. I think some of those Ellen alluded to earlier. And what we're looking at, let's combine that with hundreds of other APIs that are available. Some of the ones that we use to create our own applications that industry has used around computer vision, around conversational AI, using natural language understanding, language translation. There's a lot of APIs that are available and emerging in the industry. Now, both of them have to get used. It's not enough to say, well, okay, I've got the quality of service, but how do I now use this application and deploy it on that network there? So I think it's a combination of these things will provide even more unique experiences and make application development rapid and get more time to market to revenue. So here, I won't go into the details as I'm going to run out of time here pretty soon. But emergency response, you can see that there's multiple industry 4.0 verticals. In case there's emergency response application, as you can imagine, which is looking at counting number of people attending this venue. If there's any persons of interest, we'll identify them. Or if there's quality of demand needed because some unforeseen event occurred, then be able to provide the services to emergency response team as needed. Now, one thing, last thing I would like to quickly mention is the next game changer is IMS data channel. So this is another key thing that's has evolved now to the point in industry that we're seeing a lot of interest now and pull from the operators as well as vendors we work with around supporting not just basic voice, but along with voice, we have a data channel as well. So we've always done in IMS and networks voice and video. This thing is adding a data channel now in your regular telephony or communications applications. A quick example of that would be, I call my lawyer. He says, yeah, everything is good. He says, I need you to sign a document. And the document shows up on my screen in the middle of my voice call, and I can sign the thing and I say sent. That all happened in the voice call that was initiated. So you can think of many different use cases and applications that come out of that. So kind of coming to close here, so Engaged Digital Platform, or any platform for that matter, needs to provide SDKs, APIs, low code, no code. Many different applications can come from that. So the speed of development, the ease of development, and abstracting the complexity of the AI, ML models, as well as abstracting the complexity of the underlying network is what needs to be provided so that we remove those barriers for people who are really trying to innovate. And kind of that's what our Engaged Digital Platform is really focused on. And kind of final words here. So to sum it up, Paul got to think beyond traditional voice and text. And the opportunity is huge. I mean, I can kind of see you could only touch on a sliver of type of applications and the opportunities that are ahead of this industry with the convergence and maturity of the technology areas. So the opportunity is significant and is huge. And I think that the time is now that, and I think I'd like what Alan said, if you fail, that's no problem. That's why we do rapid innovation. If it takes you 2-3 days to write an application that didn't go anywhere, it was only 2-3 days. It wasn't 6, 7, 9 months. So with that, thank you very much.